Henri Moreau's memoirs. As September of 1915 rolled around, the situation on the Western Front seemed more hopeless than ever before. The Germans were relentless in their attacks, and it felt like there was no end in sight. I found myself growing more weary with each passing day, barely sleeping at night and relying on alcohol to calm my nerves enough to get any rest at all. Looking back on the war thus far, I couldn't help but feel a sense of despair. The loss of life had been catastrophic, and I wondered if all this sacrifice was worth it. The constant violence and death had taken a toll on my psyche, and I feared that I may never be the same again. The horrors of war had a way of changing a man, and I was no exception. And yet, in spite of all this, we continued to hold the line. We fought on, knowing that the fate of our country and loved ones rested on our shoulders. It was a heavy burden to bear, but one that we had to carry if we hoped to emerge victorious. For better or for worse, we were soldiers, and we did our duty until the bitter end. Hey guys, Stealth here, and welcome to episode 4 of The Great War, Western Front. It's now September 1915, and new research grants have been provided, which means I get 2 research points per turn. This is definitely going to help with my efforts to get tanks fairly early in the war. So it's now September 1915. Interestingly, the Germans did not attack. I was expecting an attack over here on Lille, but they decided to move their stuff elsewhere. And I think that's in response to what's happening over here in Ypres, because I moved a whole bunch of companies over here. I launched an attack in Oudenaarde, which used to have 2 companies, and now 2 corps, now they have 4. So they definitely decided that this is dangerous stuff. And they decided to take their forces elsewhere. So now we have 10 corps over there, and 10 corps over in Peronne. Peronne is definitely not something I will ever consider attacking, considering I have to win 4 times, basically in a row, in order to make any kind of progress there. As for the rest of the sectors, Arras is looking a little weak, relative to the potential threat that it faces. If these 2 stacks decide that they want this region, they will probably get it. So, once again, I'm going to be slightly responding to what these guys are doing. Unfortunately, I don't believe I have any freed up British companies, because this is British and I'm really trying to mitigate mixing companies. But, well, if I do this, it's a major loss. Wow. Okay. Let's get some region intel. Show me the amount of intel that these guys have. They got a pipeline here. They have buildings. Okay, so with this, they're going to be able to start piling tons and tons and tons of supply in there. There's 1,390 there. I only have 400 from the supply pipeline and 380 total. I simply don't have enough men. Fun times were had by all. Yeah, let's just relocate a couple of these groups. Let's go to Arras. I think that's the safer bet. As for research, I have the unlock stat boost now here, increasing the gold reserves to purchase ratio by 40% or to 40%. I now also can get the blockhouse trench. This is going to allow me safety, just complete and utter safety from artillery attacks. But those things are expensive. They can house 5 companies, and the companies will be defended, but cannot shoot out of them. So keep that in mind if you ever decide to build them, because if you cannot shoot out of them, you can make the case, well, what good are they? Well, they do allow you a lot of safety from gas attacks, arty attack, and if you want to kick out the companies that are in there, you're going to have to do that man to man. So it could be like a bulwark in the final event that a control point gets overrun. Unread events. The Cradle of Civilization. British and Indian forces move along the Tigris River to capture Kutalamara in Mesopotamia from Turkish forces. Their goal was to capture Baghdad, but the British-led force was inadequately supplied and woefully underestimated the Turkish forces. Though they came within 25 miles of Baghdad, they were eventually forced to retreat with heavy losses. The Allied army eventually surrendered at Kut after a brutal siege soon after. -5 national will. No harm done, because I'm still 750, they're still about 690. We're fairly close together. Now, I am willfully ignoring these active events because I simply don't care about them very much. I am I'm full ahead towards the tanks. And if the Germans don't want to attack anywhere now, then by all means. They're going to give me an extra turn. Oh, they've been spying from Metz, have they? So they now know what I have. Ooh. Here we go, here we go. The group from Perron, this guy, 10 cores, is coming to visit Arras. Well, let's see if that blockhouse trench is going to come in useful. A problem that I do foresee with this battlefield is that any trench I build here is essentially not going to get preserved. For the simple reason that this time they're attacking from Perron. Next time, they probably will not. Next time, they are more likely to come in from a different vector, a slightly different attack vector, and because of that, the whole thing doesn't work. Yes, the trenches are persistent, but if the battlefield suddenly changes by 45 degrees, then the trenches just get deleted and you face a new battlefield. Alright, so I'm facing a lot of different corps. That means tons and tons and tons of men. How am I going to stop them? I don't like the forest next to the command trench. It's going to make it very, very limited what I can do here. This is basically an invitation, like go through here and walk in. So if I'm going to defend anywhere, it's going to be here, in front of the forest, making sure they can't hit the forest. I think my mortars are going to have to do a lot of work. If they have a bomber wing, it's going to be pretty bad news. Because a bomber wing is going to pretty quickly get rid of all of my guys. All of my mortars. So that's not a situation that I'm really looking forward to. I'm thinking of going with a double-layered tiered system like this. Making it as overlapping field of fire as possible, while ideally not breaking the bank. And if I can just keep drawing out these lines, and potentially eventually also setting up like a firing angle that way, I should be able to mount a pretty serious defense of this region. I will have to extend it sideways like this, because this forest is going to work against me just as much as the other one. So let's do this, remove these. This is a weak spot now. That's dangerous. That's pretty dangerous. Yeah, I'm going to delete this. I'm going to delete this. Yep, they're not likely to come from over there. Well, they could. They could, but they're not likely. Okay, so if I want to get some guys in the front line, let's do that first. I probably best go with the British elites. 10% additional rifle and vision range. So let's make sure that these guys... Well, actually, no, they need to be second layer. If they got better range, then they can engage from the second layer better than any other infantry can. Okay, standard Brits... Oh, sorry, the standard Brits also have this. But these guys simply have more damage, I believe. Yeah, higher damage and resilience. Higher damage is something I really appreciate. I might still upgrade trenches. I'm just going to see how much of a supply cost it's going to actually settle me with. If I want to start deploying mortars, this price tag is going to run up pretty quick. But the mortars are very potent. And a big target for Artie. It's not something I like. But they're so useful. Suppression in the target area. If I put a couple of comm trenches around, then maybe I can keep them fairly safe while still having them relatively close to the battlefield. Or at least to the area where I think I will most need them. I really don't like this spot. This is pretty weak here. Can I extend... Yeah, no. I can put up like one additional line as such. It's just asking to get captured, basically. But so be it. Alright, let's deploy a couple of mortars. Let's see what their firing arcs are. This is pretty useful, although it does fire relatively late. And I'm also trying not to have them this close together, because then they're going to get attacked by Artie, and they'll be able to damage both. I don't want that. If I'm going to do this, I'm also going to put down some barbed wire to make sure that it's going to get really costly for them. I need to slow them down, so that the mortars are going to have time to fire. That's the plan. Okay. I don't have to put barbed wire everywhere, because the AI is not smart enough to recognize that or act on it. So let's go for every second tile for now. Insofar as I can, because over here I simply cannot put down any barbed wire. I can put it there. But up the hill? No. Alright. I'm wondering whether it's a good idea to have everything connected. Yes, it'll allow me fast maneuvers between my own, or basically from one part of a troop to another. But at the same time, it is pretty risky. I can put the mortar over there and have a machine gun like all the way back here. But this is... It's the same deal. Not only are they fairly easy to target, they're also going to get hit by the same artillery strike. This is probably a little better. Now, I haven't tried machine guns since I quit the last campaign, since I finished that. And people keep asking me. So yeah, I'll run a machine gun. A couple machine guns. And see how they perform. If I decide I don't like their performance, I'm going to not run them again. Do I need an observation balloon? Perhaps, but I basically can't afford it anyway. More troops, probably more useful. And Artie... Tricky, tricky, tricky. You can suppress them, which might buy me more time, but will also make me more inclined to use it more often. And they cost 70. Which is going to get me a whole lot of companies. Let's start doubling up on every second part of the front line. And I'll probably just have to buy a couple of improved trenches. To make sure that these guys don't die very, very quickly. Which means I have to reset these guys. Oh, no, I'm not going to go with machine guns, I'm sorry. The reason I'm not going with the machine guns is because they're too expensive for what they do. And they're most likely going to get knocked out by Artie very quickly. I'd much rather have upgraded trenches. Because with those, I know that my guys are going to have a far better time and a far more likeliness of staying alive. That's pretty much it. Especially these, so the elites. I need those guys to stay alive. I'm at pop cap. But they wouldn't necessarily hit this spot here. No. At least not initially. They would probably hit the front lines. Quite literally the front lines. Okay. Double up on that. Double up on this. I don't care if I spend every single bit of supply that I have. I'm gonna get some reserves, and that'll have to be it. Whoa, whoa, that's a really high-end trench. That's the advanced firing trench. I don't need that. Not yet. I can always... ooh, that's really expensive. I can always fix that later. Let's get one standard shooter in there. And another one over here. So one and... oh. There. Okay. Mortar, I don't need this comms trench. Well, whatever comes through that gates, or those gates, we will stand our ground. The only spot we might not be able to stand our ground in is this. That has me concerned. That spot is weak. And I can't really afford to make it a lot stronger. Okay, well, we'll just have to hold out as best we can. In its battle planning, the AI certainly didn't hold back with their trenches. Look at all this. You got quite a few lines going, look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 lines. 8 if you want to count this one along with it. That's a pretty hefty defense. They're definitely not expecting me to go on the offensive. I will not go on the offensive. Basically, I can't, because I don't have any arty. Doesn't mean you cannot go on the offensive, of course. But it's just generally not really recommended. Ah, here we go. They're attacking the left flank. Now, for now, it's a bunch of conscripts, but here comes the rain. That's pretty bad news. That's one company gone. If you just come in an orderly line, then the British would feel right at home. That's the mortars. Ah, there's the bomber. So these mortar pits, all 3 of them are probably going to take a bunch of beatings and die. Now just note how this bomber just shits out a bomb. There. Whee! Boom. That's 2 bombs and 1 mortar nest gone. Could I have prevented that by bringing my own fighters? Yes, possibly. Likeliness? I don't know. You can make the case that I really should have bought fighters. You can do that in the comments. There you go. That's another mortar position gone. If you get lucky and you fire the mortar as the plane flies over, you might be actually able to kill it. But, you know, that's not how this game works. Nevertheless, we are holding the line. Although somewhat bruised. And the enemy, so far, has not yet been able to break through. Oh, here we go. Whee! That just came at a 45-degree angle out of that bomber. But this is just how you easily dismantle, absolutely dismantle defenses that the enemy has. Are you going to come back, or are you going to go back for refueling? I guess they're refueling. Anyway, for now, it's a victory. Minor one, but it's a victory. I just think we haven't seen much from the Germans yet. I'm expecting a lot more from these attacks. It looks like I'm not wrong. There's 3 more companies coming in, and these guys are already taking arty fire. So this British infantry group will have to carry the rest of the team. There goes another one. I'm pretty happy about this barbed wire. This might just save these companies for long enough as the guys get tangled. Oh, they're attacking over a wider front, are you? Interesting. Even these guys can shoot. These guys can't quite shoot yet. But good lord. Yeah, they definitely can. Okay, so let's move up another group of shooters. You guys are going to help here. Ah, you're back. Cool story. Oh, there's another one. Jesus. So they got 2 fighter groups, because I think it's 3 fighters and 1 bomber per group. Nice. Can't have me getting bored now, can we? Goodbye, mortar. Whee! Boom. Mortar gone. I want you to fall back. I want you to fall forward. Bomb. Have you dismantled all of these yet? No, work in progress. Okay. Cool. Now, all of these, you guys are going to swap. Making sure I have a good, healthy company in the actual firing position. You guys are going to do the same thing here. And hopefully that'll keep my fighters alive well enough in order to get a bunch of kills. I'm going to also man this trench with a healthy company, because so far the middle/right flank has not seen any action. There's even more German conscripts coming in, but these guys really don't stand a chance. Gone. 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 This is going to be more interesting. Right now they're taking a load of losses. Gone. Try not to hit your own troops too much, would you? These guys will probably break just in time. No? Huh. Interesting, now they are. Thank God they're not attacking with elites. Because if they did that, this would have been so much more difficult. Gone. Yeah, gone. And these things cost 30 a pop, right? That's expensive. I do believe that these overlapping fields of fire are doing a lot of work for me. Without these, it would have definitely been a lot harder to defend the place. Alright, you. You're gonna move there. You're gonna move sideways one. You're gonna move sideways one. I'm gonna get a healthy company in here. So far, I haven't lost a single company yet, which I do consider very good, considering the circumstances. It's 10 cores pushing me. But since they changed the game with the patch, it's become so much more difficult to go on the offensive. Like, it's not impossible. I have done it in the previous episode. I didn't get a sweep out of it, but they definitely made it a lot harder. Yep, here comes another arty salvo. That's one company broken. You'll go down, you'll go down, you'll go down. They can't have many reserves left. Dude, it's 10 cores. They sure have a lot of companies left, and aircraft to boot. From what I've seen from these bombers so far, though, they're only going for mortars. They're not doing anything beyond going for mortars. And surprisingly, I still have one left on 3% health. If these things actually go and attack my trenches, it's going to be a very, very different experience. Oh, there we go. There's the last arty salvo. And that's the mortar gone. But yeah, so far, I'm not unhappy with how the British... Yeah, exclusively British are holding the line. Very certainly a stiff upper lip. Oh, I did lose a company. Okay. You guys can leave. Let's bring in an elite. Over there. Now this bomber's just kind of circling, going, yeah, well, I got 2 mortar pits left. What else are you gonna do? Nice try, though. The problem that I do foresee with this strategy that I'm currently doing is I cannot exactly hold. I cannot keep doing this for too long, because I'm constantly drawing from my main supply bank. And as I keep drawing from that, at some point it will run out. When it does, I will not be able to start fielding nearly as many defenses or companies, and I will start to take probably substantial losses. Potentially to the point where I won't even be able to hold the line anymore. What the hell was that? Oh, this needs to get swapped. Gone, 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 gone. Gone. Just look at this. Something that this game does so extremely well is just show what a meat grinder this was. I've said it before, and I'll probably say it again in a future episode, but just the sheer amount of companies that you can churn through in a battle like this. You don't even have to be the AI to do it. Just be a player doing this. It's insane. That's why I'm not even going on the offensive much. That's why I'm waiting to get tanks. I need armor if I want to break through anywhere. And I probably need a lot of it. Actually, take this trench. I don't think they're going to do much in the last 3 minutes. They do still have quite an amount of strength. This is the remaining forces of the initial force that were brought into the battle. So, yeah, they still got a bunch left. And interestingly, they're still attacking this side. Now, I thought the AI's propensity for actually going on the offensive at the same side of the map repeatedly even if it had been thwarted, it had been reduced. But it doesn't exactly feel like that. I'm just seeing these guys constantly push on this side. And of course, as I say that, they're trying something new. Guys, come on. I'm quite pleasantly surprised that I'm holding the line pretty much exclusively with the cheap trenches. Like, these are 2-point trenches. These, you can distinguish them with the sandbag walls behind them. These are the improved trenches. And I don't have the advanced ones. Those are concrete reinforced. So interesting to see that these things are holding. And these bombers are just a nuisance. I mean, yeah, they'll attack my mortars. Is it really going to make me break? No. Because I spent, what, 40 supply? Maybe I got 3 or 4 new companies? Okay, they're 20 a pop. Maybe 60 supply. It's really not bad. And with 20 seconds left on the clock, they didn't push me. So I got a pretty hefty minor victory out of it. Almost a standard victory. Which means the Germans completely failed in their objective. I'm going to call that a win. So it's a ceasefire for the day. How many men did that take? Good lord. It was almost 15,000 men. And I lost about 1,300 and change. Cost me 148. Cost them 1,295. Nice. I didn't take down any aircraft, so there are still aircraft around. Which means this side is likely going to see aircraft action again. Now, once again, this attack did not come cheaply for the Germans. I only spent 40 global supply. They probably spent a whole bunch more. They didn't take a single star away, and they lost 13 national will, and I gained a bit. So, not too bad. The Germans still on the defensive. Well, sorry, it's still an offensive, actually, because they're going to hit him again. This time around, it's going to come in from Lille. So, the previous one was Perron. This is Lille. So, this time around, no trenches. Because the battlefield has shifted, and the trenches might be persistent. But not that persistent, because they're simply attacking from a different direction. Which, arguably, shouldn't change the direction of the trenches. But, of course, for game's sake, it does. There we go. Different battlefield. Different trenches. Lovely. And I was just getting attached to my little network of trenches. This is just utter no man's land. There's no forests, no river, few roads. That's about it. So, here we go again. I'm going to set up the defenses and we're going to have a little battle with the Germans. Alright, quick walkthrough of the defenses here. No mortars, no machine guns, just a lot of barbed wire. Why barbed wire? I'm working under the assumption that the AI is once again going to bring an aircraft, so bombers will reign supreme, as I still have 0 defenses against them. Because of that, I'm taking something that cannot get bombed into oblivion, which is just barbed wire. Just a lot of barbed wire. It's going to be all over the front line, and in some places staggered. So they're going to have to break one line, and then they might run into a next, allowing the elite British infantry, as well as the standard British infantry, to deal with these guys ideally from range. It means I have no suppression value. That could be a factor, but let's see how badly it's going to work out. Alright, let's have a look. One thing really surprises me. The enemy is not... There we go. Is using an observation balloon. I thought the AI always uses one, and they don't disappoint. So over here, lots of trenches back there. Couple trenches here. Based on the trench deployment, I'm suspecting they're going to attack from here, potentially hitting this side. Because that's what they did last time around. It was a slightly different attack, slightly different map, but nevertheless, it could be that they see this part, where I simply could not put down a trench, as weakness. So perhaps they will attack there. Let's wait and see. Now, as expected, there is an aircraft. This cute little bomber won't do anything. Because I don't believe that previously we've seen them attack anything but a machine gun pit or a mortar or anything like that. And I thought, you know what? I can get 3 sections of barbed wire for the same price as 1 mortar pit. if there is a bomber, that mortar pit dies. But the barbed wire does not. Allowing my troops to take just those few extra shots against these guys. And this time around, they are elites. So hopefully, these guys will just do enough. It won't be pleasant, and it will take probably a lot of men to grind them down. But at least I'm not vulnerable to air attack. Now we're going to start manning these side trenches a bunch more. Because I do suspect very much that we're going to see them attack this side time and time again. So we're going to start moving sideways. Especially with a couple of the elite companies, since I had them doubled up. And by the way, these are improved trenches, these are standards. So with this, I'm expecting troops to come under fire to have a little bit more protection, as you can see here. That's the plan. Whether that will work out, well, you just got to witness it. These guys also came under heavy fire, but they're not dead. They lost about a third and about half. So, as weird as it might sound, that's a win. In this environment, that is a win. Now, it's entirely likely that the AI is observing my troop movements from their little observation balloon and goes, huh, so you're weak here. And they're not wrong. I'm not, well, they're a little wrong. I'm not weak. I'm weaker at this point. What are they doing? How many companies is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 companies so far. 12? You can have 30, so this could be about half. And of course, I'm not counting their arty, which is also saving up or holding up PopCap. Gentlemen, if you could actually start doing something useful, that would be most appreciated. As opposed to just standing there and looking at the incoming conscripts. A very useful application of your time, I would like to say. Go on. Go away. This is my trench. Yeah, that got them. Shift to here. Shift there. Shift here. I'd rather have them a little bit more spread out, and if they do decide to make a push here, I can always double up these trenches again. For now, doubling up a trench means that half the guys cannot shoot, which is a bit of a problem. With some of these guys, like this, I'm going to swap these around. The elites can still shoot, although they're only to 93 of 225, so they have taken some losses. But it's not nearly as bad. You guys can swap. Actually, you guys can stand over there. Let's wait. Not for very long, though. Jeez, I just paused it for a second. Here they come again. And this time around, they're going to be suppressing companies, sure, but not all of them. Potentially enough to make it a bit difficult to save all of these companies, though. The barbed wire is doing a fantastic job. Keeping everybody tied up. And slowing them down just enough to have my suppression wear off and have everybody open their fire with their... Well, open fire with their what? With their rifles, of course. See, this is going to be a little challenging. Get in. Alright, you guys are going to have to bypass the other weakened company and win. It's one conscript group, I can handle those. It's the regulars and the elites that I'm concerned about. Yeah, I'll lose a company here. Probably both, actually. Get a fresh one. I'll just take them from here. They're now going to pay a visit to this company here. I got 83 morale, you got a half. So you're not going to win that one. Neither will you. You're down to 17% morale. These should be fairly easy to break. They got 9 minutes left. If they want to make anything happen, they're going to have to bring a lot more men. Right now, it's looking like a victory. I like that. Next attack, coming in from the right flank, interestingly. Or trying to hit the right line. Now again, companies are spread out. I got 4 or 5 of them suppressed, but the rest of them are not. So I'm hoping, once again, barbed wire, slow them down, open fire, suppress, and eliminate. And it seems to be working, because these guys have already regained their composure, no longer suppressed. They're just butchering companies left, right, and center. Of course, they're not doing it alone. The elites, despite having been under a heavy fire, are holding the line. It's not easy, but they're doing it. Oh, there's a second bomber. They got 2 air wings here. Okay. The AI wants to spend all of its money on air wings. I'm all for it. I mean, basically making my life easier. Because it means you're spending a lot on air wings. And you're not spending that on things that can actually hurt me. Let's get a healthy company in there. If they keep this up, it's going to be a major victory. So by all means, Germany, keep sending more men. See how that goes. I hope they got one of those semi-suicidal generals who just keeps pushing in more forces. Saying, no, 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 no. This is the time it'll work. This extra division, this extra corps is going to make all the difference. No, General. It will not. And let me show you why. One already... How much they got? Ooh, it's a big wave. But if you keep circling them around, you're just giving me a lot more time to pick them all off. Gone. Gone. Gone, gone, gone. Next. Dead. This is a bit annoying. And dead. So. A few more. I'll take that major victory now. Which is still a bit surprising considering it's their attack. Yeah, I'll accept your ceasefire. I think we've done enough. I think we have done enough. Ceasefire established. Results? Probably going to be pretty decent. Pretty decent indeed. Look at that. Especially all the elite infantry that they wasted. That is expensive to replace. As shown by the price tag of 1400. As opposed to my 186. Because I did lose some elites. But I didn't lose 5,000 of them. Now, based on the fact that this was a major, almost a major victory, I think I'm going to get another 9 victory points. And the Germans are probably going to have to sacrifice another 13, 14, something like that. 10. It's not that bad. I gained 13. I like that. What I don't quite get is that it says gold reserve spent plus 114. Shouldn't that be like minus? Or gold reserve spent, 114. Just remove the plus or minus icon altogether. Anyway, October 1915. 2 more research points. And we have shell shock. Our doctors have noted a high increase in the number of cases of shell shock, where soldiers become unable to fight, with a variety of symptoms, including nightmares, flashbacks, and tremors. They're requesting resources to do more research into this phenomena before it begins to impact the war effort. I can treat the physical symptoms only, which I think is absolutely the worst thing to do, or I will allow the research, which is going to cost me 1400 but give me more national will. While we still have much work to do, we found that talking therapies, where patients confront their traumas, has a distinct positive effect on both their physical and mental states. I would hope so. So, I'm now on 787 and the Germans are on 666, which is undoubtedly a sign of how evil they are. Alright, this is it for this episode. Next episode, I hope to make just one more step closer to the trench, or to the tanks, which will be researching efficient heavy arty. I haven't exactly used much of that, but it's just another hurdle on the step to tanks. And with that, the next step is efficient light arty, and with a couple more victory points, armor. Eventual goal is to get repair teams, a ride-along service, which will repair tanks when they're not in combat, which is absolutely bonkers, because it means that if you play it well, you'll never lose a tank. I haven't actually had that happen in the previous campaign, so I'm going to try and go for this in this campaign. It's going to be pretty expensive getting there. I might have to take a detour eventually with taking some anti-air options or giving my soldiers helmets. But for now, this is the objective and this is the eventual goal. Thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed. See you soon for more.